Hi everyone and welcome to the weekend roundup on the Don Robbie channel. I'm Abby Summers and I'm joined by the beautiful...
Oh, stop it.
Pippa.
Well, this is the only time I'm going to smile throughout the show probably.
You probably.
Until we start talking about certain fixtures, but it's good to be here as always and to be joined by you.
Of course, and it's the first weekend roundup of the season, so surely that is so exciting, right?
I know. It was a big weekend.
It was.
For a lot of teams.
Huge. Well, maybe not Arsenal, but we're going to talk about that. Huge weekend of football. There were 34 goals in that opening weekend, which was mad. We saw some incredible standout games, which we're going to get to. But before we get to those games, the standout moment, I mean, it did come in the Brentford game, and it wasn't the loss. It wasn't the loss. But the standout game was Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
You know, that beautiful picture. He went over to the fan, celebrating with him and how much it meant to the fans. And I love that they do the lap of honour at Brentford as well.
Do they do that? Are they going to do that every game? Or I think it was Arsenal?
I actually read today that they did it, they were doing it last season, or they did it when they were promoted in the playoff games or something like that. And I think that it's kind of stuck. It's like a good way for them to connect with the fans. And I watched the video, the extended video, where a few of the players went over too. Yeah. But how nice is that to see on the opening weekend? To
be fair, it's an amazing gesture because if I'm comparing it to the team that they beat, Arsenal, I'm a fan of Arsenal as you all know, when I went back to one of the first games that fans were allowed, I think it was Brighton last season, everyone was just, the fans that were there, the 10,000 lucky fans that were allowed to be there, were just excited to see the players again and new players. And you just thought at the end of the game, end of the season, we get a lap of honour, we get nothing.
But do you know what? We didn't at Spurs either.
So it's so sad. So for Brentford to do that on such a big occasion, why does it have to be the last game of the season? Opening game,
100%.
Just beat Premier League giants. I know they're not, some people say they're not a big club anymore, but they are, they've been in the Premier League for years and they are a big club. They've got history, and for you to beat them on the first day of the season.
And also that's their first top flight game in I think it's 74 years. So just incredible scenes. I love that picture. That will probably be the picture of the whole season. I don't know
it was cute though. They took selfies. And
it was so cute. Nice. So cute. But Brentford. So we know that they beat Arsenal 2-0. Kicked us off in style. Brentford, they did. Is it new season, same old Arsenal, Pips?
I think it's new season, worse Arsenal. No, genuinely. Because a lot of people did predict that possibly Brentford could go and do the fairy tale thing, but a big percentage of those people said it as banter. Like, they could do it, but come on, it's Arsenal. I know they're the worst for wear, but you have to beat Brentford, newly promoted team, and they haven't done. So if you cannot beat a newly promoted team, who can you beat this season?
I would say, because we were having a chat in here on Friday, and I said that I always felt personally that Brentford would win. And that wasn't because of Arsenal. That was more for the fact that first game back in their stadium with their fans, and new stadium as well, newly promoted. They're not mugs, Brentford. They're a good side. So is it a case that actually they're just quite a good team, and they are a good team. Because they've been promoted, we shouldn't underestimate them?
Do you know why they're a good team? Well, it's only one Premier League performance to judge so far, but when I was asked, I talked to my son about football a lot, like who was the player of the match or the man of the match for them, it was hard to pick. Yeah. You had Pinnock, who got an assist and was defending everything. You had Ivan Toney, who you expected to score, but instead pulled the strings and got an assist, pre-assist. You've got the goal scorers.
Yeah, and then of course David Raya in goal.
Yeah, David Raya in goal. Like, there was a lot of good performances, individual performances that led to a really good team performance.
And let's just look at Arsenal for a sec, because we saw before the game they said Aubameyang and Lacazette won't be travelling because they're ill. Not COVID related, because I think if it was COVID they would have said. Is that a cover up? Is that for more disciplinary issues? Because Arsenal have had their discipline problems, haven't they? Yeah,
I remember there was a time that Aubameyang turned up. I think it was North London derby. He turned up late and then he was not even benched. He just wasn't allowed to play. There's been other situations like that, but I think there is something going on. And there's rumours circulating yesterday and today that there's a possible move for Aubameyang to Barcelona, swap deal for Coutinho, which is a player that a percentage of Arsenal fans did want last season after Barcelona.
Would you want that? Would you want that swap deal? Because that could be a good thing for you,
Yeah, why not?
And it's not like Aubameyang's doing much.
I know. It's like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, does he want to play, or is he being shunned out like Ozil? I don't know what the situation is. It's hard to gauge, because we had a big contracted player like Ozil last year, where he just went missing, and we all had to
same things happen again, really.
Yeah, we all like to be sceptical and start coming up with conspiracy theories. Is it because of pay cuts? Is it because of this? We just don't know.
Was there any positives for Arsenal? Because, defensively, Lokonga, Ben White, anything?
It's such a shame that our 50 million signing, I don't want to put price tags on things, but you look forward to seeing your new signings on the debut, and he had a shocking debut, Ben White. Lokonga looked good for a Premier League debut. I don't know about the positives. Normally the positives will be the kit looks lit, but I'm not even a big fan of that blue kit. I'm not even a big fan.
The kit didn't even do it for
No,
you.
I don't know.
Mikel Arteta, we know that if he didn't before, he's definitely splitting opinion now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You've got Chelsea coming up, followed by Manchester City, and we know that is, regardless of what happened yesterday, we know that both, Manchester
fixtures.
City are an incredible team, and they're not even firing on all cylinders. They don't have everyone back yet. Chelsea are going to have Lukaku.
Yeah, oh God.
Are you worried for these next two fixtures?
Worried? That is the biggest understatement of all time. Normally, like Chelsea are like not even a bogey team. Chelsea are that team that, people expect you to lose against, and Arsenal always manage to somehow get
well,
not always, but like on the off chance you get a good result
or a draw or something like that,
out of the game. But for the first time in a long time, that thought's not in the back of my mind. I'm not thinking, maybe we could just, or quick counter, or I'm not thinking anything like that. I'm thinking Lukaku's coming back to prove Chelsea wrong, to prove Manchester United wrong. He's going to be buzzing to get back into the Premier League and to play against Arsenal at the Emirates. It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, it's just, it's looking a little bit bleak.
Yeah.
But would you say that, let's say that you lose those two games, so you would have potentially lost your first three, then you maybe have, I think you've got Norwich after that. If you lose those first three, are you looking at Arteta out, or do you think that they'll stick with him?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I think, I was saying that from last season, in the most politest way possible, because I don't like to jump on the bandwagons of shoving managers out, but I don't think he's the man for the job.
Okay.
I think it is too big for him. I thought that from the moment it was announced that he was going to be the head coach, and I was like, really? So the last person I expected, I thought Ancelotti would be the one that would come in.
Well, they were going through that kind of period where we saw Frank Lampard go to Chelsea and,
so all these ex-players.
It was, and I guess it can work in some circumstances, and there's been players that have not necessarily managed their old club. Someone like Steven Gerrard has done it a different way and is doing very, very well. And I'm sure we'll see him back at Liverpool.
Maybe.
But maybe it was a little bit too soon for Arteta, never having actually coached a side before.
I think it's way too soon.
Yeah.
Especially for a Premier League team.
Yeah.
And a team as with Arsenal's history, it just didn't make no sense to me. If you was going to bring back an ex-player, we saw Freddie Ljungberg interim, but you'd bring back someone with more experience. I'm not even into ex-players being managers. To be fair, I'm not big on it.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Arsenal in the next few weeks. Let's move on. Parallel, Manchester United versus Leeds. Now, Manchester United were pretty incredible.
What a game, by the way.
It was an amazing game, and we had it on the Robbie channel the other day. Leeds, however, weren't that good.
First half, they were okay.
They were okay, but they really were very open in that midfield. But we can't argue with how good United were. I mean, title contenders?
I mean, if you're going to judge after one performance, and even if you're going to judge on the team, the squad, they've got a very good squad.
Exactly.
New signings coming in. They didn't even have Rafael Varane playing yet.
No Varane. Sancho was only on late.
Came on, you know what I mean?
No Marcus Rashford.
Exactly, and they've got those players to come off the bench, and Martial's come off the bench. They've got these players, Van der Beek.
It is a case that they now have the squad, because they've always been in that transition ever since Sir Alex left. I know it's a long time ago now, and they've gone through various...
transitions take that long sometimes.
They do, and they've gone through various cycles, the Van Gaal era, the Mourinho era, and now obviously with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah.
And
which I'm surprised is stayed that long, but it's working.
I think that it was a case with United that they had to have some stability, and I think with the chopping and the changing, they needed someone that knew the club, that would be able to understand and relate that to the players, and trust in him. And obviously he does have help, and I'm sure Sir Alex is guiding him from afar. But the only thing that I hear from United fans is that they don't necessarily back Ole all the way.
I hear that.
Do you think that's unjustified, though?
What, that they're not backing him?
That they're not backing him for the fact that he has most definitely improved them. Since he's been there. They've finished second place for the last 2 seasons. They have definitely come further.
European final.
Exactly. It's just the fact that they haven't won a trophy. If they won something, whether it be a Europa League and FA Cup,
they'll be singing his praises.
Do you think
that's always the marginal difference, though? It is about winning at the end of the day. And also, Man United are a big club, and you expect them to win something.
Yeah.
And getting that close, European final, not winning it, you start to question. Is your manager the man for the job?
In the in-game, it's all about in-game management, isn't it? And I think that's probably what you're right. That's where.
But they're on track. Well, it seems as if they're on track at the moment.
Well, if they carry on how they did on Saturday.
Because every game, I feel like every single game in the Premier League, I know years ago, even just like 3 to 4 seasons ago, would say teams like Leeds, teams like Norwich, teams like whatsoever, you'd think you have to win against them. But every single game is a challenge in the league now.
Yeah.
Whether it's the smaller teams, whether it's newly promoted, whatever it is.
And that's why it's so great, because it's so competitive.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so good. But
some people would say, oh, it's only Leeds. It's not only Leeds.
No, Leeds
are a wicked team
right.
under Bielsa.
You are absolutely right. And just before we talk a little bit more about United, Leeds, as you said, they weren't too bad in the first half. Second half, they just fell apart. That Luke Ayling goal gave them a glimmer of hope. That lifted them.
I was thinking, we might see something here.
What a goal that was as well. Yeah. But it just didn't have enough in that midfield. Massively missed Calvin Phillips. Does that show that, unfortunately, Leeds, and I asked the Leeds fan that was on with us on the Don Robbie show, out of that starting 11, who else is missing bar Calvin Phillips? And he said no one. So is it a fact they don't have the strength in depth? Possibly.
They're going to need more than that in the midfield, because, like you said, Man United had them wide open. That was just all it was balls over the top. Or
it was
Greenwood on the left wing. He's gone.
It was the Bruno and Pogba show. To be fair, I mean. Hat-trick for Bruno, Pogba and Bruno link up. I'm going to give you Paul Pogba's game by numbers against Leeds, right? So that's 49 touches, 26 passes in the opposition half, 12 total duels, contested 5, recoveries 5, chances created, assists 4, 2 shots, fouls 1 tackle, 1 interception, 1 take on, all completed. The first Man United player to record 4 assists in a Premier League game.
In Premier League history?
Well, that's what it says on my iPad.
Wow. To be fair, as far as I'm aware, Man United never really had that creativity in the midfield. And Pogba's not really a creative player, but when he's on his game, he can do that.
Is it not frustrating for United fans, because they know exactly what Paul Pogba can give? We can see it here statistically, you know, in one game. But he doesn't. Is the fact that he doesn't do it every week? Does he do it against every team? Does he want to have that desire to do it every team?
That's the main frustration with a lot of, you see it with pundits, you see Graham Souness always getting on to Pogba, but you have to learn to give credit when credit's due, because in a game where he's scored 4 assists, what does he have to do then? Not scored, but given 4 assists. What does he have to do for you to get his praise? Yeah, that was yesterday. We were talking about with Micah Richards and about the Harry Kane situation, that obviously Kane mistraining and his behaviour hasn't been too good. Unprofessional, to be honest. It has been totally unprofessional, totally disrespectful and unprofessional. And then Paul Pogba, who's never openly really said too much. We know that he hasn't always been a saint, but has never missed training or anything like that, or disrespected the club in that way, and yet gets slaughtered in the media. Time, why is that? I have no idea. Is it the price tag? Yeah, but so what? There's other players that's got huge price tags in Man United as well, and they don't always have a great game. Does Harry Maguire have a great game all the time? No, definitely not. There's always going to be big players. Is he going to start doing that to Sancho this season if Sancho's missing chances or whatever it may be? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's so many players with huge price tags that it's not their fault. They didn't ask to be paid to be bought for that price. That's the football market. Bruno Fernandes. Or Penandes, as many people call him. No penalties on the weekend, though. There was no penalties at the weekend, just sheer class. Some of the finishing was just a joke. That third goal in particular. Oh my God, that third goal was incredible. Potential top scorer this season? Yeah, already. Yeah, definitely. He's off and away. If they carry on playing like that, interlinking like that, and the way they played against Leeds, maybe they played to Leeds' disadvantages, which have worked for them. Yeah. Obviously, every game's going to be different. But if they carry on interlinking like that, Pogba and Bruno, definitely. Mad stats. Definitely. Well, I think the problem with Leeds as well, they were so open, and you could sometimes say it's brave to be so attacking and go to Old Trafford, but also it's a little bit suicidal. I think that's kind of what happened. Are you worried about Leeds at all this season? I'm not worried about them though. No. I think that's just one hiccup for them, because I feel like under Bielsa, I know that the big worry is they haven't got that squad depth as far as we're aware, unless you're an avid Leeds follower and know about upcoming talent in their squad or whatnot. From the outside looking in, it doesn't look like they have great squad depth. Yeah. That would probably be the only worry. But they are a good team that play very good football under a very good manager. So I don't worry for them. I just feel like Man United outclassed them. I totally agree. Sometimes you just get outclassed on the day. Make sure you send in your comments, by the way, guys, and we will read them out as we go along. To another game of pure class, if I say so myself. Oh, I wonder where this is going. Like you said, credit where it's due. Spurs against Manchester City. A lovely 1-0 win for Tottenham Hotspur yesterday. And, I mean, they looked pretty good, didn't they? To be fair, they did. At one point, especially after it was about 10-15 minute mark, I think I tweeted it during the second half, and I was just like, how on earth does this team in white look better than Man City? Yeah. Because you did. Yeah. Spurs looked the better team, and they were the better team. And the full-time results, the only stat that mattered was 1-0 at the end of the day. Exactly. And it was shocking for me
Don't worry, it was shocking for me too, you know, because as a Spurs fan, I didn't expect Spurs to turn up the way they did. That's the first time I've seen Spurs play collectively as one team, all fighting for the same objective, reading off the same sheet, and you know, that hunger and passion, I haven't seen it since the last season at White Hart Lane.
Do you think that there was a reason they did that? Do you think they did that because Pep Guardiola calls the team the Harry Kane team?
Well,
were they trying to prove a point, like say we can do it without Harry Kane?
We've got such a good, you know, history with City as it is. I think it's the last 4 we've beat them anyway, and they haven't even conceded a goal at the new stadium. We haven't conceded a goal against them. So I think that, you know, it always winds people up when they say about the Harry Kane team, but actually in all those games, Harry Kane hasn't been present anyway. I think there was only one game when Harry came off injured, and I think we still won. So the Harry Kane team always beats City without Harry Kane, which is funny in itself. Some standout players for Spurs, Tanganga.
Yeah, definitely. I feel
Unreal.
I feel like he was the main one and only reason that Jack Grealish and Sterling just couldn't get off to a good game.
Pocketed, no?
Yeah, well, yeah. Some may say.
But from minute one, you saw him. He was so aggressive, challenges, just really getting his body about and saying, you know, you might be 100.
Certain dominance.
It is. It's a dominance that we don't always see, especially when he's actually not naturally in that position anyway.
He's quite young as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's only 21, 21. So we've got a big future for Tanganga, and I'm really happy that he impressed so much yesterday as well.
A player that also surprised me from that squad, which I do not name, was Dele Alli.
Yeah.
Because obviously I haven't really seen him play much. Maybe he played in pre-season, but I didn't really watch the Spurs games.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that from him before in previous seasons. Not under Mourinho.
The thing is, he had quite a good pre-season, and I think that someone like Nuno as a manager, Dele works very well with someone that comes in, puts the arm round. Whereas, you know, someone
he's a baby.
You know, sometimes you just need that. You need that love. You just do. There's lots of players that need it. A lot of players in that Spurs squad that I think also react on confidence too. Lucas Moura, Steven Bergwijn also the similar type of player. And I think with Dele that he covered the most ground yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, he was running box to box. He was getting in all the right positions, digging in deep, putting in the tackles where he needed to. And I just think that it's a new start for Dele. You know, he hasn't had a very good past few seasons, and there's been a lot of questions whether or not we should move him on or not.
I didn't think he'll be at Spurs this season.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure if it was time to let him go. But I mean, hopefully he keeps putting in performances like that and we'll be happy. City. So again, it's very disrespectful to Gabriel Jesus because they say there's no striker. It's crazy.
He's even got the number. I swear he's got the number 9.
he does, and he is City. He is
not
a
that
striker.
shirt numbers really matter like that anymore, but still, traditional number 9. He's actually a striker.
He is a striker. He is their striker, and the disrespect he gets when they say City have no striker is outrageous. So, is it the fact that, you know, Pep obviously likes to play a different way? He doesn't like to play with the striker. We know that. Was that team crying out for Harry Kane in particular? Listen, or was it the fact that they didn't have, you know, we saw De Bruyne on the bench, Kyle Walker, John Stones on the bench. Their bench was £550 million. You know, they had insane, and so many options.
Oh, gosh.
Is it a case that they didn't necessarily need a Harry Kane, but they just needed some more quality yesterday?
They were missing something. I don't know what it is, but obviously they were missing that. They needed a goal. They didn't even get. Do you know what I mean? They didn't really come close, to be fair. So yeah, I would say they were missing some type of striker. Is it Harry Kane? I don't know.
Hopefully not, but it could potentially
Somebody said when the team sheets come out that when they didn't see Harry Kane on the Tottenham sheet, they had to check Man City's one
to see if he was on that.
Could you imagine like some random unveiling? Oh, by the way, Tottenham fans, Harry Kane's a City player.
That would be mad. There would have been uproar.
Yeah.
But as we said, look, Kane's absence from the game, it is a talking point, even though the narrative was always going to be around that regardless. He was never going to be fit to start. He only came back and trained with Spurs as of Friday after that PCR test. So he was never...
Who?
Harry Kane.
So he actually has been training?
He's been in training the last 2 weeks, but
Is there images? Is there any proof of this?
He has been in training, but he was still in isolation. He had to do the test and release after holiday, and that was on Friday. So he did join the squad, I believe.
I feel like you're like
Saturday.
Tottenham's press officer at the moment.
Officer, put me in charge. I think they're looking for a new one now as well.
Oh, is it?
Does that absence? Do you think it meant anything, or the fact he stayed away completely?
It means a lot.
You think it does?
I think. I don't know how Tottenham fans feel about him at this moment anyway, because I know you was there, I've seen on social media and I heard it on the TV. They're all singing.
Are you watching
Harry Kane? I don't know if he was. Was he? Because he didn't tweet about nothing. Normally, you know, if he's not playing a game, whether it's for England or Tottenham, whatever, he would normally tweet. Even I see it. It always goes viral. It comes up on my timeline. I don't even follow him.
Yeah.
He would always tweet something.
I think that there's rumours that Nuno had told him to kind of stay away just because it's not about him. It's about, obviously, the team and what's going on. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. It's just media speculation.
But still congratulate your team winning the first game of the season against Man City.
Absolutely. That is
It's
still
the
your
fact
team.
that you're not saying nothing about it. If I would beg to question, are you going somewhere, or are you part of the team?
The thing is, there's been one bid which we're aware of, which was in June, £100 million, well below asking price. There's been nothing since.
What's the asking price? 130.
150 million.
50? I thought it was 130.
150 million.
This is insane. What is happening to football?
Well, the thing is, Manchester City go and pay 100 million for Grealish. Harry Kane is guaranteed goals, assists every season. England.
So
captain.
let me ask you this, right? So we were speaking earlier about the Pogba and Kane narrative and how Pogba's got a huge. I would love to ask Graham Souness this. You know, if Harry Kane goes to Man City for 150 million and doesn't perform, which I know is not likely, but let's say he doesn't perform for the first 6 to 8 games, which is a massive
there's be questions asked.
Are they going to start slating him on national television?
I don't think they'll be slating him to the level Pogba that Pogba has, and I think it is unfair with that narrative especially. But I think that if, let's say, Harry Kane does go to Manchester City and doesn't score for 6-7 games, there will definitely be questions asked. We saw in the Euros.
They'll be looking for his head.
What we saw in the Euros, right? He hadn't scored for 3 games. Yeah. And there's questions asked. Yeah. So we all know that as soon as something happens, the pressure, the media attention.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the Euros would have brought his price tag down, to be fair.
Wow. We'll move on swiftly, shall we? Just before we do, actually, Manchester City is really nothing to worry about, is it? They've got you in a few weeks.
I don't think so. Remember they started last season poorly. They still won the league.
I think they were 10 games in, and they were nowhere near. People wrote them off, and then
you don't write City off.
Never write them off, and then they're not back to full fitness, and they're still missing
and they're missing key players.
They are. They'll all be back for when they face Arsenal at the end of this month.
You had to throw that in.
Moving on to Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Lovely 3-0 win for Chelsea. Yeah. Another title contender. Yeah. Massive title contenders, especially after, of course, the Super Cup last week. And
they're on a massive high.
They're on a mad run. Champions League, Super Cup. They've
got Jorginho for Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or. And of course, now they have got Romelu Lukaku about to join. Are they the team to beat?
Yeah.
Think they are?
They are. They're a strong team, and they're adding to that as well. Obviously, they've let go of Tammy Abraham now. It's official. I don't know. There was rumours circulating if Chalobah's going to be there for much longer. I could be wrong.
I don't know, but at the moment it looks like they probably want to
keep hold of him. That goal was sensational. Yeah. But yeah, they're a really, really good squad. And I think they're definite title contenders. For a team that's just won European football twice, let's just say twice.
Yeah,
in the Super Cup.
They have. Yeah.
That's what a way to start your pre-season.
It really does kick them off in the right direction. And plus, like we said, Lukaku coming in, where they sometimes struggled last year was in front of goal. I know they had Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, and they had Tammy. But
I think his style of strike force, Lukaku, because it didn't really work at Manchester United. It wasn't really their game plan. I think it will work at Chelsea.
Suits Chelsea.
I think he could, I can't believe I'm going to say this, he could really emulate his idol, Didier Drogba.
He could. And what a striker Didier Drogba was. I mean, that's exactly, it is exactly what they've been missing, isn't it? For the last kind of few seasons or so, someone that actually can go and guaranteed. And I think they thought they were going to get that with Timo Werner, but it just kind of hasn't really.
It hasn't kicked off. I think he'll get a good season though.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a positive person, but I think he will go out. I am a positive person, just not in football sometimes. I feel like he'll grow into it this season, just like Ben Rama, like we saw.
Yeah, there's other players as well that will also be chipping in with goals. Kai Havertz got that goal in the Champions League final. That is a huge boost for someone like him, especially of his age as well.
Exactly.
Ziyech as well, and he's back from injury.
See what I mean? They've got players.
They've got players. They've got a squad.
They've got all the last couple of teams that you've mentioned: City, United, Chelsea. They've got players.
You can allow us.
They've got players. They've got options. When I look at the team that I support, we're starved. Like we're going through starvation. We have nothing.
Starvation at the Emirates.
Somebody please help us.
Crystal Palace, so one of your own in Patrick Vieira is their new boss. Did you think that was a bit of an odd appointment after Roy?
Say that again, sorry?
Patrick Vieira, yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked about that.
It was a bit strange.
Yeah, it was very sudden and a bit random, but I think it's a good move for him. He's had managerial experience where he's been overseas, but Roy Keane's got faith in him. Roy Keane spoke about this and he said no, it's a very good move for him.
But is it a good move for Palace?
Why not?
Well, because I guess you're coming in. They've seen so many players go out this summer. To bring in a manager that, yes, he does have experience, but he doesn't have Premier League experience.
Yeah, I get you. But how do you get Premier League experience? You start at somewhere like Crystal Palace.
It's true, and that's what Arteta, I guess, has been doing at Arsenal. But that is, I guess, what
I'm not doing this again.
I think that's the only issue with Palace, that when you make so many changes, players out, new manager, and he's going to try and put his philosophy on this. It could go one of two ways, and we have seen that happen in the past with various managers throughout the years. Sometimes it doesn't always click, and it's harsh to compare it to Chelsea because we know how good Chelsea are. But were there any signs of anything positive in that Palace game?
No, there wasn't. But it's against Chelsea. Yeah. It's not the best team to start your season against.
No, it's not.
I feel like there shouldn't be too much pressure on Patrick Vieira, because it's not a team like a Brighton or a Aston Villa. Those teams, to me, even though Aston Villa was a bit questionable beforehand, those are like mid-table teams. Crystal Palace are a team that just needs to stay safe away from relegation. Yeah. A successful season for Patrick Vieira is keeping them in the Premier League. Crystal Palace is not a team you think, right, we need to get up to 10th, we need to get up to 9th. It's just about staying afloat. Yeah. As long as he does, I know it sounds, I'm making it sound easier than it is, but as long as he does that, he will have a good season. If he gets them relegated, then of course. That's the only challenge.
What is his style of play?
I couldn't tell you.
No idea.
Couldn't tell you. I can tell you that he was a boss in the midfield years ago. It was when we had the O2 and that, you know?
that kit was sick, to be fair. Yeah. Any comments before we move on?
Let's get into some comments. Proud to be a Geordie, says Vieira will be Arsenal manager by the end of the season.
That could very possibly happen.
I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that. Omaleo says European Super League, 6 Premier League clubs that joined Breakaway returned to European club. Apparently that Super League's coming back. I've seen that all over social media today.
I think it might be a good thing for both our clubs, no?
What?
It might be.
How?
That influx of money.
Oh,
if we're taking away the moral high ground of grassroots football and the pyramid. But selfishly, for Arsenal and Spurs, wouldn't be a bad thing having the Super League.
I mean, I need to do more research because I'm just not for it.
The influx of money that we'd get, it could.
We've got money.
Helpful.
We're not doing anything with it.
We won't.
We're not doing anything with it.
You're right. It's pointless. Stay out of it.
Another comment here. Oh, everyone's just trolling me, to be fair.
They're trolling you about Arsenal.
Yeah, what's going on? About Arsenal going to get beat by Chelsea again. I say it every year. I mean, I did see the same thing, to be fair. I'm not confident.
Do you know what? Exactly. It's not like you don't know. Yeah. All right, let's talk about Leicester versus Wolves. 1-0 Leicester. Jamie Vardy, 34 years old.
Unbelievable.
It's mad. How old is he going to play till?
38?
I think
36?
I think he might. I think he's going to be there the whole time.
He's going to be like the English Ronaldo.
He will. Still banging them in. Lovely goal, and another one to put on the tally opening. He's always there or thereabout when it comes to the end of the season. We talk about how many goals and who's in the race for the Golden Boot. He's always there.
Thereabouts, he is.
They're talisman. And of course, they came off with the win of the Community Shield. Yeah. Again, beating Manchester.
Leicester doing...
They're doing bits. FA Cup, Community Shield, beating
Perfect
Manchester
start
City.
Pre-season.
It is a perfect start, and they've got a really good squad. And I've said it on here many times. I really like Leicester. The way they run the club, manager,
everything, top to bottom.
Top to bottom, it's so well run. Leicester have been in the Champions League spots for the past 2 seasons, but fallen at the final hurdle. Yeah, what's your expectation for them?
It's because, you know what it is? They are good enough to get that Champions League spot, but like you say, they're always going to fall short because the teams around them just have that.
Do you think it's the lack of depth? Do you think?
Possibly, but their depth of squad hasn't been that far off of the likes of Man. I know people are going to be like, what? But in previous seasons, it hasn't been that far off the likes of Manchester United. Yeah. Manchester United just got bigger names with bigger social media presence or whatever. Yeah. But they haven't been that far off if you're talking about who they can bring off the bench. But if you talk about the other big teams that are around them, like Man City, they're far from Man City. I know they've beaten them pre-season. They're far off Chelsea. And I think it's just that little bit of difference. I know it's very marginal. They don't have that depth, and that's what's probably going to, dictate whether they can get that top 4 again. Because the other teams around them are just too strong.
The one good thing about Leicester is obviously their recruitment, and we've seen them bring in Patson Daka, Samare as well. That's another bit to add to their depth as well, because they have got Europa League football this year. Again, is that something they should be focusing on?
Of course. I mean, they're in the winning mentality zone right now.
And they're winning constantly. But they do have a winning mentality. They really do.
The next thing to add to their locker, to their, they've got a trophy cabinet.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, they've got a trophy cabinet.
They've
got an FA Cup. You might as well throw the Community Shield in there.
They've got Premier League.
Yeah, Premier League. The next big step for them would be the Europa League. And then obviously after that, in whatever their 5-year plan is, 10-year, then contend for Champions League. But that's
down the line.
That's way down the line.
James Maddison has been linked with Arsenal. If this is just a genuine question, this is not me digging before anyone says anything.
She's digging.
I'm not digging. James Maddison, if you're James Maddison, why would you leave Leicester for Arsenal?
He's not going anywhere. James Maddison was posted up with his big cinema home screen watching the first Premier League game of the season, Brentford v Arsenal.
Yes.
He posted on his Instagram story when Brentford were 1-0 up, saying the Premier League's back, baby, with love-struck emojis. That's not someone that's going to Arsenal. You're not watching the team you're going to lose and posting that. He's not going anywhere.
I did think it would be a little bit of a.
He's not going anywhere. He's got European football. He's not going anywhere.
I agree. Stay where you are. Wolves, now no Nuno for Wolves, of course. He's now with Spurs. Losing 1-0 to Leicester. Again, no issue with that loss. Leicester a great side. Wolves, it could be an up and down season for them.
Yeah, they're the team I've kind of forgotten about now. Yeah. I think it's the Nuno effect because when Wolves are one of those teams that I just like Leicester, they're like my little baby team that I just pay attention to, make sure I always look out for the results and stuff. I've kind of forgotten about them now, which is quite sad. So it'll be interesting to see what type of season they have.
Yeah, do you think it'd be a case that they may be hovering around that drop zone?
Yeah, not that far down.
You think you still think they'll stay up?
13th, something.
Somewhere mid-table.
Somewhere that you just forget, like they're thereabouts. You know that part of the table you forget who's in order,
there?
like 12th to 16th. You're just like, yeah, I know they're there somewhere. That might be us. That might be me.
Unfortunately, Wolves fans, just a little bit.
No, sorry, but I can't even dig. That could be us. That could
be. You'd be so lucky at this moment in time. Newcastle versus West Ham. Newcastle 2, West Ham 4.
I think this was my favourite game of the weekend.
Newcastle were 2. They were 2-1 up. 2-0 up. I think
Benrahma equalised.
They did, and of course West Ham won 4-2 in the end. Antonio, Benrahma, goal and assist.
Souček.
Are we looking for West Ham to carry on from last season?
Yeah, I didn't think they would because I feel like that ignition. Is it ignition?
Ignition, I like
Jesse
that.
Lingard ignited something into them when he was playing with them. So I did think, even though it's just one player, that it would have been like a huge loss because they had great momentum towards the end of the season. They were just soaring. And they've got European football as well.
So will they be able to do it? That is the one thing I question with West Ham. The size of their squad and the depth, they don't have. I don't think they have depth, in my opinion, or enough depth. And when you're playing on a
the player they brought on, was it Johnson? He looks about 19.
But you guys will know it as well. When you play on a Thursday and you play on a Sunday,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. You know, the long trips across Europe, it does take it out of you. Yeah. So do you think that, unfortunately for West Ham, they may not be able to balance both?
Possibly. I would have thought they would have added more to their team.
Yeah.
But when you say you don't think they'll be able to do it, do you mean like what?
I think that the Premier League will probably suffer. I don't think they'll be able to sustain.
And they'll focus on European football.
Yeah, I think that because everyone loves a European journey, and
I feel like clubs like that are in European positions that don't normally get to European positions.
Yeah.
As bad as it sounds, because Premier League is so important, I feel like as a manager, you should be focusing on whatever cup you're in, winning that cup.
Yeah.
As hard as it's going to be, because I don't know, there's going to be some big teams in Europa League.
Yeah.
But you have to focus on winning something, because realistically, they're not going to qualify for top 4. They're not going to win the league.
Well, exactly, and I think that's where West Ham will have to have a look at it and say, if you're playing Thursday, Sunday, take it from 2 teams in Spurs and Arsenal that have done it for years. It really does take a toll. Yeah. And if you don't have that strength in depth, as soon as it gets
you've got to concentrate on one thing.
It is. As soon as, and it's not until after Christmas you really feel it when the February rounds, those stages kind of hit.
But obviously with balance, like don't just focus on Europa League and then end up 19th.
No, of course. But I just think over the course of the season, I don't expect West Ham to sustain what they did last year. In my opinion.
No, logically, I don't think they will. Yeah.
Everton, Southampton. Everton 3, Southampton 1. Rafa Benitez. There's been so much talk in Merseyside over Rafa's appointment.
Can't believe it.
Lots of disappointment from both
Liverpool
sides.
Everton fans want to be keen on it.
Everton fans are not keen on that at all. I think that we had a Liverpool fan on for the Norwich Liverpool game the other day, and he said that it's agent Rafa. He's gone in there to
mess it all up.
To mess it all up.
Clearly not.
Clearly not. Off to a winning start. I think they cheered Rafa at the beginning, and then I think they booed off at half time. Apparently.
Yeah, I've been hearing this, but I didn't hear that.
Can he win the Everton fans over?
I think the only way he would win the Everton fans over is obviously winning the Merseyside derby.
Yeah.
That's got to be, one tick off the box.
That's going to be
massive.
A huge one.
Both at Goodison Park and Anfield. If you could do it twice in one season, then surely He's got to win them over.
It's been so long since Rafa was at Liverpool as well.
Yeah, like, you've just got to forget about it, you know. Yeah. It's not like he went directly from Liverpool to Everton.
No, exactly.
He's been to
China and back in that time, and the North East. Richarlison on the score sheet, looking much for him this season?
As expected. He's someone I always expect to just get on the score sheet. If anyone's going to score from Everton, I expect it to be him or Dom.
Yeah, that's true. Dominic Calvert-Lewin also with the goal as well. Southampton, again, one of those sides that float around that relegation zone, always have a good little run early on, and then everyone's like...
And now they've lost Danny Ings.
Lost Danny Ings.
That was a shock to me.
What is that about? Why?
Why did he leave? I don't know. I don't know the full process.
I can understand why Villa have gone in for Danny Ings, but, you know...
I don't.
Southampton have historically always let their players go, haven't they?
Yeah. I feel like everyone's had a Southampton player in their
Everyone's
teams.
had a bit of Southampton.
We've had him with Phil Walcott.
We've had them.
Liverpool's had loads.
Toby, Wanyama.
Like, everyone's
had...
Southampton just bring them in, get their experience and ship them out.
They really do. But could it be the time where, you know, I know lots of people do like Ralph Hasenhüttl, but
I really do like him.
But is this a season when maybe Southampton just don't have enough?
I don't think they'll make. I think they could be the team that could possibly be relegated.
I do as well. I
know it's so soon to say, but
just when you base it off of the last few seasons as well, I agree. I think they are one to watch. Any comments before we wrap up the last two?
Kyberson says this is a good show.
Thank you very much.
Jack the Lad says it's Everton at the end of the day. We will support no matter what, but if Rafa wins a trophy, that's a bonus. Not asking for much, just a trophy. What trophy? FA Cup?
Carabao Cup. That would be
a big...
It's not going to be the Premier League. So that's unfortunate.
I didn't say it, Abbi did.
I'm just saying. I'm being realistic. I hope you prove me wrong. I love to see other teams win the Premier League, other than the obvious ones. But I guess it has to be the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, doesn't it? If they're looking at trophies.
Yeah, it's true.
Liverpool. Liverpool, the other side of Merseyside.
The other side, the red side.
The red side against Norwich, 3-0. It was a pretty standard procedure.
Yeah, as expected.
I have to say, I think Norwich, again, we covered it on the Don Robbie show. They didn't really set up particularly good. They were playing out from the back. It's a little bit suicidal to do that against Liverpool, isn't it?
Experienced Liverpool.
It is. All credit to them, though. I guess they kind of went with the mentality that we're Norwich, we're at home, we've come up, and they bossed the Championship last year, and we thought we'll play our way. But is it a case that sometimes you have to pick and choose when you want to play your way?
Yeah, it all depends. That's down to the manager, really, isn't it? Because I love to see that bravery in that fight to go, so what? It's Liverpool. Let's go out and play our way. But it's just not always going to work.
It's not.
But I commend it, though.
Yeah, but I think that there's sometimes where managers have to look, and similar with Leeds.
And analyse
similar with Leeds, with going to United, you can play the Leeds way, but I think there is sometimes where you have to adapt.
Yeah, reel it in. If it's not at half time, change it. Yeah. Reel it in.
Yeah.
Have some common sense.
Liverpool were by far the better team. Mo Salah back on the score sheet. Firmino getting a goal as well. Tsimikas, we saw, is that how we say his name?
Tsimikas, I think.
Tsimikas, apologies. Tsimikas, again, having a good game. There was only one moment where he looked a little bit out of touch. James Milner slapped that right out of him. But apart from that, they looked pretty good, didn't they? And I think people were, in a weird way, I think people weren't really speaking about Liverpool as challenging.
Even Liverpool fans, to be fair, because I've spoken to a few.
Yeah.
Even Jamie Carragher said he doesn't expect them to win.
Do you think that's because they haven't strengthened? But then again, why would you strengthen if you don't have anything to strengthen on?
Really?
Well,
they let go of Wijnaldum.
They did let go of Wijnaldum, and I think that is potentially one area they need to bring in. But I'm talking about the front. You know, you've got Salah, Firmino, Mane. Firmino didn't have the best season last year. There was a lot of criticism, but they had so many injuries last year that everyone's come back now. Joe Gomez, Virgil, Trent, they're all back. James Milner is still there at the ripe old age of 35, and still
old age.
But they're still bossing it. Look at the numbers. I mean, I think he covered the most ground or something like that in that game, and it's just incredible. It's an amazing precedent to set for your side. But is it the fact that because they haven't added anything to their attack, bar Jota last year, is it that they don't necessarily want to do anything unless they think it's better than what they've got?
I don't know what the reason is. I think Jota's been a great addition. But I also feel like for that front three, as good as they are and as good as they can be, there needs to be another one as a cover-up, as a backup. I don't know who their backup striker is.
Well, they've got Divock Origi still, don't
of course. I thought he'd gone, you know.
No, he's still chilling
I'm expecting him to go. Well, as long as they've got him as a squad member.
They've still got him. They've got Shaqiri still, haven't they?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
They do have good depth, Liverpool.
But I just felt like younger.
Yeah.
I feel like all of those players I know they're still in their 20s, like Salah, but they're still, to me, they're aging a bit.
They are.
I know a lot of people are not going to agree with this, But they're all aging a bit, and then your options on the bench, they're not the youngest.
Well, they're raving about Harvey Elliott. They're raving about Nat Phillips. And I guess maybe it's the season that they just try and
cup games, maybe
the cup games, and they try and incorporate more of their youth in there rather than going and spending big. So that'll be an interesting one. Before we go to team of the week, and some more comments, VAR. So interestingly,
VAR,
where are you? We've hardly even discussed VAR this weekend.
What's that saying?
VAR,
where out though, VAR?
We've hardly discussed it this weekend. Opening day of the season, usually we have so much to say, but no longer showing replays of decisions and what they're checking. Change to handball interpretation, which I think will help a lot. And more lenient in terms of free kicks and cards. And now we obviously also saw that they're not going to give an offside if your nose is offside or you're pointing to where you want the ball. That would have
helped us last season when it was like 4 or 6 points off top 4.
I don't know how much that would have helped, but there's so many things that I think are positive in terms of VAR. And the fact that we're not using it as a talking point, that has to be a good thing, right?
No, it is. I mean, I'm going to be a typical Arsenal fan here and say, like, I wish it did come into our game against Brentford because the ball went out of play. Callum Chambers' ball went out of play. Why was that not addressed in VAR?
Well, I could say Spurs should have had a corner yesterday and they didn't.
To be fair, I'm actually happy that it's obsolete because I used to hate watching the games, whether it's even at the ground, it's worse.
Yes.
For the games that you were at the games, it will just say VAR checking decision.
Yeah.
And we all just sat there and like just looking at each other like, okay, we've been sat here for like 2 minutes. What's happening?
And also it takes the spontaneity out of the game, doesn't it? And
it ruins the momentum,
it does, and you're always looking to see whether or not there's something's going to happen and what's going on. But you know, being back at the stadium yesterday, it was amazing because you could just naturally celebrate, and it was just so nice. And I think that's probably a good thing because we were all quite happy for VAR to come in before VAR came.
But it was extreme.
Yeah, it wasn't.
When we're watching the game and we're seeing the offside and we're seeing all these dotted lines and red lines and green lines. I didn't want to watch an infographic show.
Yeah.
I want to just allow the goal, the toenails offside. What are we doing?
It's stupid things like that where you have to kind of give the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Right, we're going to do our team of the week in a sec. Are there any comments? Get your team of the week in, and we want to hear what you guys think as well before we do that.
There's a comment here from Naldo. Says show is actually very good. Good flow of convo, not stuck on anything for too long. Big up, ladies. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Abel Candle says Brentford's second goal was clearly illegal. Leno was manhandled, but the referee was blind to it because it's Arsenal.
Of course.
And Tim Brown says, I'm not a City fan, but they didn't play Walker, Stones, Kevin De Bruyne, or a striker for most of the game yesterday. They will get Kane, and they should still win the league.
Okay. If they want Harry Kane, 150 million, he's all yours.
Yeah. There's a super chat as well.
There's a super chat. Go on.
Oh. Well, it's from Hugo. It says, do you both do TV presenting? If no, you should be. We're presenting now, aren't we?
We are.
And we do a bit of TV.
That's exactly what we do. Boss bitches. Right, let me just have a look. We're going to run through our team sheets. So, team of the week. We went for... Do you want to do the honours? Do you remember who it was?
So, why would you let me start? We'll start from the goalkeeper, obviously.
No, we won't. Yeah, we'll give you the keeper to start. Go on.
So, we had to put at least one player from this game in there. Otherwise, it'll be completely biased for me. David Raya is the goalkeeper of the week. I know, I wonder what the comments will have to say about that one. But he did have a great debut in the Premier League.
He did.
And he actually not only just kept everything in the game, but kept a clean sheet because there was that one chance in like the 86th minute, wherever it was, that he just kept the ball out of one hand. Clean sheet, first game of the season.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is why he was in there, and deservedly so. We went for Tanganga at right back, and again, I think that no one can really argue with that.
I didn't argue.
She didn't argue. She really didn't. He had a stellar performance yesterday. Bossed it.
Yeah.
You know, as we said earlier, pocketed Sterling, Grealish.
All right, moving on.
I'm just going to live in it. I'm going to live in it for the moment. Okay, I've got a week to live in it. Virgil van Dijk, of course, coming straight back in, cool, calm, collected, just
clean sheet,
doing what he does best.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire as well. Okay. Happy with Harry Maguire in there?
Not really, but you know, he's decent centre back, so don't put him in there.
He was decent, and of course they had an amazing afternoon.
Yeah.
Manchester United. Tsimikas we put in there as well. So
back,
two Liverpool at the back.
Oh yeah, of course.
Two Liverpool at the back. We were trying to break it up. We didn't do too well on that, did we? No, we didn't.
I did actually suggest.
You said Ben Mee,
but then they lost, didn't they?
They did lose.
No, I said the one that I always pronounce his name wrong, Tarkowski.
Yeah, but they also lost. Same team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But otherwise, I'd have put him in there.
Tsimikas, we put him in there. It was a really good debut, as you said. Maybe one moment that was a little bit off key, but apart from that, he looked pretty solid. Good. Midfield.
So the two definites I put in there straight away. God, I sound like a right old non-Arsenal fan. The two definites I put in there were Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba.
Yep.
And also Mo Salah.
Yep.
And Ben Rama, for a player that, you know, was championship last season before?
Season before.
Had the season with West Ham, but didn't really kick on. Not as much as expecting him to.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
I'd seen him a lot when he was at Brentford before they came up.
So to get 1 goal and assist yesterday.
Good player.
Was it yesterday? Yeah.
Yesterday, yeah.
Very good. I think that's a very good midfield from the weekend there.
It was fantastic midfield.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
There was too many options.
We really struggled because there were so many other people that we could have actually included in that. We didn't include Chalobah in that.
I wanted to put Chalobah in there.
We didn't include Lucas Moura in it. We didn't include, there was, who else were we talking about?
Quite a few, but I forgot now.
There was quite a few people we were talking about, but we just couldn't put everyone in, so we couldn't take Bruno or Pogba out, so that's what we went for.
And I thought Ben Rama had to get in there.
Yeah.
Ben Rama, I could actually replace Mo Salah with Chalobah, but we've stuck to our team.
Do you know what? We'll stick to it, and and hopefully he cracks on, and we'll be sitting here next week and be putting him in. And up top we've put Heung-min Son. We didn't even mention him.
I didn't want to do that, by the way, guys.
She didn't want the 2 Spurs in there, but I got my way on this one. Of course, for obvious reasons. I mean, not only did he lead the line yesterday so well as you know. Well.
I'm not getting involved. I'll let you speak.
He's in there, and everyone knows the reason he's in there, which is fine. And we decided to put Richarlison in there, didn't we? Are you happy with Richarlison being in there?
Yeah. Got a goal. Decent forward. One of the player that I want. I'm gonna bait you up now. Actually,
are you?
The player that I actually wanted to put as a forward was Antonio. But she was like, no, we can't put 2 West Ham.
We're not putting 2 West Hams in there, okay? You know, it's early doors.
No more London teams.
That was enough for me. The 1 West Ham was in there. I agreed on Ben Rama. I said no.
Yeah.
I said no to Antonio.
Yeah, it's fine. I said no to other Spurs players.
You said no to Lucas Moura and everyone.
It's fine.
Any more comments? Hopefully you've all sent in your teams of the week?
So a lot of people, and I'm regretting this now that I didn't include this player, saying Alonso. Of course, he got the goal as well.
Of course, we could have put him in there.
Apologies. We did just do this on the spur of the moment.
We did it within a few seconds.
Alonso definitely has to be included in Player of the Week. Chalobah's been mentioned. Cruiser Kid says Lindelof, Chalobah and Alonso. Salim is saying Mason Greenwood.
Good shout.
Very good shout. Is there any more? Bilal says, why is Van Dijk there? And he is a Manchester United fan. And Temple saying put Lucas instead of Richarlison.
I wasn't going to get my way. I wasn't going to get my way with both of them up top, unfortunately.
And Enigma says, where is Chalobah? Don't worry, I'm sure he'll be in there next week.
He will. Hopefully that's something for us to all aim towards, and he to aim towards, that we're talking about his name week in, week out. That is it for the big weekend roundup for the first week of the season.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
Thanks for having me, Abs.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining me. The brand new Don Robbie set.
It's amazing, by the way.
It is really cool, isn't it? What's your favourite shirt?
Get an Arsenal shirt up there.
Oh, that's been relegated.
Don't say that.
That's been relegated. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you back on Friday when we do the preview for the weekend. So enjoy your week, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.